What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Talking Halos. I'm your host today, Jared Timms, and I am joined alongside my co-host, my partner in crime, Nate Green. Nate, how you doing?
Good. Good to see you. How are things?
Good. Yeah. No, we're doing good. We're doing good.
Yeah, good.
See, you're in a good mood. Are we going to continue that good mood, or?
We'll see. We'll see if you piss me off today.
All right, we will see. We will see. As always, thank you so much for watching and listening here at Talking Halos. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're watching us on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button anywhere to notify you that the podcast is out with a new episode. Go ahead and follow us on all our social medias, X, Instagram, and Facebook. You can follow myself on X at Jared_Tims. If you are an everyday listener or every week listener, depending on when we get these podcasts out, you know what's going to happen right now. All right, all right. Let's get it rolling here, Nate. I didn't tell you what we're talking about at all. I do want to continue the trend here of we started with pitching, we started with the starters, we started with the bullpen. We talked about that. I want to get on to catchers and infielders because catching is easy. That should be, unless there's an injury,
Yeah.
it's very, very easy what's going on there. But the infield becomes very, very interesting.
Chaos.
Yes. Controlled chaos. Not controlled chaos. There's never
No,
controlled
not
chaos
controlled.
when it comes to the Angels. No, but it is very interesting to see what they are going to do. There's definitely some question marks in the infield, some injuries. I'd say there's only one, maybe two for sure spots. The other two are kind of up in the air, and we'll kind of talk about why here. But let's start with the catchers, and this is going to take 2 seconds. We are good with Logan O'Hoppe and Travis d'Arnaud, correct?
Yes.
If anybody listening has any problems with Logan O'Hoppe or Travis d'Arnaud as the Angels 1 and 2, please leave the room. No, I mean that is the this is the most for sure that I think the Angels have been at catching in since when? Ooh, that's an interesting question. When was the last time that they had a for sure 1-2? You can't even say it.
Benji
Not
and Jose.
I mean it might have been. So it's good to see that, and they also have some guys in the very near future as well. I know, like when Travis d'Arnaud is done in Anaheim, you have a kid named Juan Flores who is looking to be an exceptional ad. I would assume he probably is in Double A and probably is in Double A for a little while there. But Juan Flores looks like a stud. I'm going to continue with the Martin Maldonado comp. I'm not going to say Pudge because I know that Pudge has been going around, or Yachty or anybody like that. It's gonna be Martin Maldonado for me. I'm just gonna set that expectation there. But yeah, catchers start opening day. It's gonna be Logan O'Hoppe and Travis d'Arnaud, unless there's an injury, and then it'll probably be Chucky Robinson at that point. I would
Yeah, he's on the 40
guess.
man. That's an
Yeah,
easy one to put on.
yeah. I'd take a guess that's where it's at, and I like Chucky in AAA. I think he's going to control that staff very, very well. He's going to do a good job with the young catchers as well. So, with that being said, let's move on to the infield. I'm going to 40-man infielders right now, and we'll go non-roster invites. 40-man infielders right now: Luis Renifo, in no particular order, by the way. Luis Renifo, Yoan Moncada, Kevin Newman, Nico Cavada, Scott Kingery, Ryan Noda, Kyron Paris, and Nolan Shawnuel. I'm not going to include Zach Neto because he's not ready for spring, not going to be ready for
Mhm.
opening day. Same thing with Anthony Rendon, both not ready for opening day. But of those 8 players, who do you think makes the opening day roster? And we can talk about non-roster invites. I think for me, non-roster invites, there's only going to be one, maybe a second guy, maybe two in there that are going to be making the roster. But who do you got infield wise?
Okay, so Shanuel has to make the roster. No matter what I think about him, he's on the
That's
roster.
that's
Check.
a for sure for me. He'll be the opening day
Yep.
first baseman.
Yep. Rengifo's on the roster as well, barring any injury he or trade. Um, I doubt he gets traded this late in the spring, but you never know. Rengifo's on the roster. Kevin Newman's on the roster as well, for sure. Yohan Moncada is on the roster no matter how bad he looks in spring training. Um,
And is probably your opening day starting third baseman, I'd guess.
Not gonna say that.
That's why I said 1.5. Did I say 1.5? I'm for sure on 1.5. That's my half
Yeah,
right there. That's my half.
because I think Rengifo probably opens at third base.
Depending,
That's my guess.
if you platoon it, yeah, I could see that.
My guess is opening day third baseman is Luis Rengifo, just based on some other factors. So what is that? That's four plus two catchers is six, and then you have We have what, one, two, three, four, five outfielders. So I have what, two spots left?
That's about what I had. I think that so for me, when I'm penciling in, is the last spots coming down to an extra infielder or an extra bullpen guy. So you have one to two more spots depending on what you want to do there.
Well, I'm at 11 right now. So I have for sure two, maybe three if I want to go 14 and 12. I'm thinking 13 and 13 just because um
Fine.
I'm not going to put anyone in the minor leagues starting pitching wise, and I think we've already kind of said that. So now I'm at two spots. I think Christian Moore probably makes it just because of what we've seen out of him. He's played pretty well. There's a lot of hype around him in camp. Everywhere you turn, there is so much hype around that guy. Whether it's MLB.com, whether it's a regular Angel game, whether it's X, whether it's whatever, like everywhere, that's all people are talking about is Christian Moore.
Mhm.
What an amazing person he is, what an amazing player he is, how much he works, all these things. Wash loves him. So I think he makes the roster as well. This is where things are going to get a little bit interesting. That would make it 40 guys on the 40 man because we're at 39, so you'd have to add one more. And this is where things would get interesting. I think you get into a point where it's, do you put Scott Kingery on so you don't have to DFA anyone? Do you put Tim Anderson on and DFA someone? Um, do you put JD Davis on? I doubt it because I think you're okay with third base right now with um Moncada and Rengifo slash Moore, whatever. I think Tim Anderson makes it just because he can play shortstop, and that is the one position the Angels don't have.
Where else can he play?
He can play shortstop, he could play second, and he probably could play third.
Keep going
Um,
a little further, a little further. He can stand in the outfield as well.
sure, he played
Right.
center field for the first time in his career yesterday. Um, so I'm not gonna,
Whether or not the outfield is going to be good, that's a
yeah,
question mark. But he can at
not
least
not
stand
gonna
out.
say he's an outfielder because
That's
that's
fine.
not correct. But um, if Kevin Newman gets dinged up and has to miss a couple days, like then you're putting Luis Rengifo at shortstop, and we already know that he can't play second, let alone short. Um, so it would be nice to have a guy who can kind of play everywhere. And I think Tim Anderson, Kevin Newman are both those type of guys. And when Neto comes back, you can get rid of Anderson if Anderson's not playing well, or there's a lot of options. Makata's not playing well, you can get rid of him. So I think that's who it is. I think it's Tim Anderson, Christian Moore, plus the four that are pretty obvious guys on the roster.
I went through it a couple of days ago on X, predicted my 26 man. For me, just slight difference. Like I said, the last roster spot, whether or not you want to go 14 infielders or 13 infielders, comes down to if you want to add in another bullpen piece. They probably do go 13 and 13. I think I went 14 and 13 though. 14 infielder or 14 fielders,
14,
13
12.
14, 12, yeah. Um, but for me, it was obvious Nolan Shonawell, Luis Renifo's for sure in, Yoel Moncada's for sure in, Kevin Newman's for sure in. And then I added three other infielders. My last guy was Tim Anderson just because of the fact that he can play the outfield if needed. I know it's not beautiful by any means, or we don't even know if it's beautiful, but he can at least be competent and stand out there. Plus, former Major League All-Star. Would I love to see him go crush AAA? Absolutely, but I think that he means more to the actual Major League team, than he would a AAA team, whether or not he's good or bad. He kind of brings that fire as well to the table. I think it's weird, stupid as it sounds. I mean, we love the signing. I think that you got to at least utilize that up front and add a little bit of fire to this team. Christian Moore, I think that he makes the team for multiple reasons. First off, because they have an open spot. They're at 39 guys, so I think they keeping that last spot open for him. I know that you still have to add in Tim Anderson as well, but I think that third spot, that 40th spot is for Christian Moore. Just like I'm sure the Dodgers have 39 right now because they have an open spot for Roki Sasaki. Um, I also think that Christian Moore has a chance to win the Rookie of the Year. I know that it's a long shot, but you look at it, he's got a better shot than Caden Dana. He has a better shot than probably most guys, especially if he finds a way to play 150 games. And who knows? I mean, if he can hit 20 to 25 out, you're in rookie of the year conversations, which means that you will get a comp pick for him winning rookie of the year. I'm not saying that he is by any means the favorite, but I do think that you have to consider that as somebody who can possibly win rookie of the year. And I think that him playing 150 games makes the most sense. I know there are a lot of really good AL players and a lot of good rookie AL players that have a chance to do it over him. Um, but I mean, you catch fire, hit 25 home runs. You just never know. Like you never know how the voters are. Luis Gill last year. I mean, whatever you want to say about that. I mean, it is what it
Nobody
is.
had him winning. Nobody had
Exactly.
him winning.
Exactly. So you just don't know who that's the one award that I think is just kind of wide open to everybody. Like you can predict it every single year. Everybody predicts the best prospect and it ends up
Junior
not being the best prospect.
Caminera,
Yeah, I mean I think everybody was
Holiday.
picking Jackson Holiday last year, right?
Yeah.
And like we saw what he did. So yeah, it's always up in the air. So I think you got to give Christian Moore an opportunity. My very, very last guy that I, not very last, but has earned a spot this spring training, no matter what he does, is Kyron Paris.
Yep.
As weird as that sounds, he has absolutely hit himself into an opening day roster spot. He's got the options. He can play second base. He can play shortstop. He can play third base. Heck, you probably put him at first base if you needed to. I don't think you really have to. But Kyron Paris 100% has earned a roster spot this spring training so far. We're only halfway through spring training, so give it a little bit more time. But I think it is a no-brainer at this point. And if you told me he was a starting second baseman on opening day, I wouldn't be, batting an eye at that either. I would be perfectly fine with that. Or starting third baseman or starting shortstop. Like if he was an opening day starting position player for the Angels, I would be absolutely fine with that. Just because of how he looks. I know spring training stats don't mean a lot. He's absolutely raking, but he also looks good too. He looks more confident. He looks like a different player right now. Up the plate, playing defense as well. He's made a lot of really good defensive plays too. And he was also a former top prospect in the Angel system. So I mean, the Angels are due for somebody to break out like that. And if it's somebody, I'd hope it'd be Kyron Paris as well. So yeah, I'm all in on Kyron Paris right now. Like I'd be thinking about drafting him in fantasy league just because I know Derek likes to talk about fantasy. So let's get that in there. I'd think about drafting him in fantasy leagues too. Like I think that he has a chance to really break out this year as a position player. I know you're not a huge fan of what they did to the swing and everything like that, the hit guru, whatever his
It
name is,
looks really good right now.
but
Actually,
it looks good. Yeah.
it does not look like the Hit Guru's stuff. Actually, I know that some people will try and take credit for it, but it doesn't look like some people approach.
Yeah.
The only issue I have with him is I want to see him get everyday at bats. Like
Yeah.
I would like him to, and I love Kyron Paris. You know that he's one of my favorite prospects. Him and Jordan Adams were up there. Um, and it's like I just if you're gonna call him up, like give him a chance. Do not Joe Adele him where it's like, hey, we're gonna call you up and you're gonna play once every 6 to 8 days, and
Yeah.
you know we're gonna end up sending you down because you were 2 for 20 in those 1 every 8 day appearances, 1 every 6 day appearances. Um, I would rather like you said, if he's going to be the starting second baseman to open the year, or he's going to be starting shortstop to open the year, great.
Hmm.
If he's going to be a starting third baseman to open up the year, fine. Um, if he's not going to be one of those positions, send him down to AAA and let him play third base the entire time, or let him play center field the entire time. I think that you and I talked about this a little bit. I think that the Angels are probably trying to find a position for him because, like, if Neto's going to play shortstop every single day, if Christian Moore's going to play second every single day, and you've got a guy who should be good enough to start, like if he takes off like we think he can,
Mhm.
is it third base? Is it center field? I don't know, but like he could make a difference for this team, and maybe this makes it a little bit easier because now you don't have to go pay another third baseman, you don't have to pay another center fielder, or you don't have to draft a center fielder or a third baseman. It just opens up a lot of possibilities. So if he's going to start, that's fine. I love him to be on the roster, but if he's not, it's the same thing with Christian Moore. If Christian Moore is not going to be the opening day second baseman and play, 5 or 6 days a week, then send him down to double A or triple A and just let him rake until it's time for him to play every day.
Yeah, I'm with it. I mean, it's kind of firing me up right now, just talking like, like this guy has like it looks good. It really does. Like I know it's spring
Does.
training and everything, but it doesn't like we were very worried about like it actually being the hit guru type of whatever that guy is, the Aaron Judge type of swing, and it really doesn't look like that. And he looks confident, he looks comfortable, he looks like a legitimate major leaguer as well. So that's very exciting to see on the Kyron Paris front for sure. And talk
Absolutely.
talking to some of the guys that were training with him as well. Like they're coming out with some really cool stuff there. I'm excited to see what I think it's optimal performance.
Hmm.
I'm excited to see what they have in store for baseball fans in general there.
Yep.
So next order of business is again easy little conversation here. The Angels have had both first and second cuts. I don't think it's anybody surprising. I mean, I'll give you one surprise. We'll go through them here real quick. Of catchers, they sent down Dario Laverde, Alberto Rios, no surprise there. In the infield, they sent Yolmer Sanchez, maybe a little bit of a surprise, especially as a first, second cut guy, but not not too surprised, especially with the way that some of these infielders have been playing. Bryce Teodosio got sent down as well. Nothing surprised there. I'm going to leave starting pitchers here because I want to say that that's my only surprise there is a starting pitcher. Uh, but bullpen wise, they sent down Chris Cortez, Angel Felipe, Kelvin Caceres, and Caminacci. No real surprise there, right? None of those guys. Uh,
The only one I know, Cortez hasn't pitched good. I know that, but the stuff is there, and that's the one guy where it's like, just leave him up. What is it? It's not going to hurt you to leave him up and just give him another couple appearances. I know he has not pitched good, but he has got the stuff to pitch in the back end of a major league bullpen, and I think he could do it sooner rather than later. So just give him some more opportunities to pitch in big league camp. That's it doesn't surprise me with how bad he's been, but I would just leave him here.
I'm, I mean, it's probably not even a hot take, but he's in the Angels. He'll be in the Angels bullpen by July. As long as he
Wouldn't be
pitches,
shocked.
as long as he pitches well in Rocket City, like he's going to be one of those quick movers that's up in with the Angels very, very quickly. So, the one surprise for me, and out of starting pitchers that got sent down already, Austin Gordon, Victor Medeiros, and surprise is Dakota Hudson. That would be the one surprise for me. Just because I think at some points we were talking about, maybe maybe he makes a bullpen spot. Maybe he contends for a starting pitching spot. He's kind of been there, done it before. The fact that he was a first cut really kind of worries me with Dakota Hudson and maybe where he's at with the Angels. I could totally be wrong, but that'd be the only surprise. And the fact that we're talking about Dakota Hudson, a non-roster invitee, minor league signee, as being a surprise, I'm not too concerned about it. That was just the one that like, oh, he's one of the first guys cut. I mean, former major leaguer type guy, was just in a rotation last year. I know it was the Rockies, but was still a rotation guy for majority of the year. So that'd be the
Awful
one
last year
surprise for me.
though.
I know,
Awful.
I know. I get that.
Um, no, and I understand it just because he is a major leaguer. It's like you probably should have waited another week or two because he's been a major leaguer for the last 6 years with St. Louis and Colorado. So
Yep.
um, a little bit surprising, but I just didn't see a spot for him. Like he's not a reliever. I know people would sit here and try and tell us that he's a reliever. Like he doesn't punch anyone out. He's a ground ball guy. He is, Jose Soriano, but doesn't throw 100. It's a lot of sinker slider guy. Just gets a lot of ground ball outs. A lot of ground ball outs. Doesn't punch anyone out. So not really a bullpen arm for me, unless you're going to use him in a long role, which the Angels have probably 20 different pitchers who could pitch on a long relief role.
I'm not gonna
Um,
I'm not gonna disagree with that at all. Yeah, just weird
it's
that a guy like that
no,
gets.
no, and I totally get the
Yeah,
one thing that's weird to me is like he's been a major leaguer for the last 5, 6, 7 years, and it's like that's probably a guy that you just give him the courtesy of like, hey, we're gonna keep you around till like the last week or two, and then we cut you. But um, I really didn't see a role for him unless there were injuries, which the Angels haven't had yet. So that's good news that we haven't had those injuries and haven't needed him yet. But we'll see. We'll see how he does in AAA. Hopefully, the ballpark plays truer this year, and the numbers can kind of. We don't have to call up a guy with a 7 ERA hoping like, oh well, it wasn't. It was because his ballpark was so bad. That's why he was bad, not because he is bad. And then we call him up, and he's still bad. So hopefully he can pitch well in AAA and just be down there as a good depth option because sometimes you just need a veteran who can make two or three starts and you're just going to send him back down or release him, not call up a rookie who is making his major league debut. So we'll see.
Definitely. We will see. Last order of business, spring breakout rosters came out today. We'll go through the pitchers real quick, see if there's anybody we like. Then we'll go through the position players, see if there's anybody we like. I'll say this, 18 of my top 30 prospects are on this roster, so I'm pretty excited. The game will be at or on March 15th at 6:05. That is PST at that point, I believe. Because Arizona's not PS. I don't know. Arizona thing.
Well, by this weekend we should be on the same time zone.
Exactly. So
That's
6:05,
what you mean.
6:05, PST. Yeah, that's what I meant. I don't. Arizona does weird things, or California does
That
weird things. I don't know.
somebody doesn't do daylight savings.
Yeah, it'd be Arizona.
There you go. No,
Yeah.
but that way you don't have to call anyone out for being weird.
No, I'm gonna call out. Arizona does weird things. California does weird things. I don't know. Um, Pitchers. Let's talk about them here. Brady Chobon, Chris Cortez, Jack Dashwood, Carlos Espinal, Jose Fermin, Trey Gregory Alford, friend of the show, Joel Hurtado, Ryan Johnson, Keith Key, George Clausen, Cam Minacci, Sammy Natera Jr., and Walbert Urania. Who are you excited to see? Give me one.
Just one?
Yeah, you get one, I get one. That's how it works.
Okay. Well,
I'm
we've
uh,
seen some of these guys,
I'm
but
excited to see two.
I'll just okay. I was gonna say Trey. I think it'll be fun to
I'm
see him
terrible.
pitch in this. No, I'll just stay with Trey. I think it's gonna be fun to see him just pitch in this kind of environment. He hasn't really got to pitch in anything big yet. It's just kind of been like minor league stuff. So this should be a fun one where it's like, hey, you could be playing against some guys that are like borderline big leaguers or are going to be big leaguers. So I think that'll be fun.
Walbert Urania for me. Jordan, you're not Jordan. Giordano Ventura 2.0 there for me. Rest in peace, Giordano. But that's who he reminds me of. The big fastball. I'm excited to see Walbert on this stage. I'm excited to see Walbert hopefully in Double A as well because that's a big time fastball, man. It's fun to see him. He's not a huge dude, but that's a fun fastball. Decent slider, decent changeup as well. So no, not Luis
The
Castillo.
comp has changed.
No,
The
my comp
comp
has
has
been the
changed.
same. When I get told Luis Castillo, that
It's
is
not
what it is.
Luis
But
Castillo, I can tell you that. It's not Luis Castillo, I can tell you that.
my comp is Giordano Ventura, which is still good. Like Ventura was a dude for a little while.
He
I
was he
mean,
was fine.
he was a good pitcher for a while there. He was a fun pitcher.
He was fine.
So yeah. And I mean, I'm cool. I'm fine with that. So Walbert Green is my guy. In the field, we got catchers Juan Flores, Dario Laverde, Alberto Rios, infielders Sam Brown, Cole Fontenot, Denzer Guzman. Don't take my guy Josh Belugo.
I
David
will
Mershon,
not.
Christian Mora, Capri Ortiz. In the outfield, Randy DeJesus, Rio Foster, Nelson Rada, Anthony School. I want to try to find guys that we haven't seen in spring that much. So like Nelson Rada, that's awesome, but we've seen him a lot in
Yeah.
spring. He's played well,
Well,
you know.
that's why I was going through the pictures. It was like, yeah, of course, I love Ryan
Yeah.
Johnson, I love Chris Cortez, but like we didn't really get to see Trey, so that was
Yeah.
kind of why I
Yeah,
went
those
Trey.
two, the two guys we picked are the two guys where it's like, oh, those are fun arms to go see for sure. So,
Yes.
okay, give me position players. Who do you like?
Uh,
Give me one or two.
Alberto, no, Rio Foster will be fun. I think that'll
Mhm.
be fun to see him, friend of the show, kind of.
No, kind of. Jaden.
Yeah,
Okay.
kind of friend of the show, but yeah, looking forward to seeing him. And let's just throw Ortiz in there. I think Ortiz will be fun to see as well, just because Taylor has talked him up a little bit to me, so I will.
I
He'll
like him.
get mad at me for
I
saying
like
that.
I mean, for those who don't know, Capri Trees, I do like him. I don't know if the bat's going to be. He's got to pick up some size for the bat to
Yeah,
be real. But I mean, he's going to be a good defender. He's at least 60 grade speed, so there's some speed there with him. Smooth defender, probably play middle infield, maybe play center field. So you like those types of guys for sure, and it's a guy to keep an eye on. Thank you for picking somebody that hasn't really been
well,
in. That's good.
And that was the two things, right? It was like don't
Don't pick
pick
my guy.
Denzer Guzman because I like Denzer, but like we've seen Denzer, and don't pick your guy. Yes,
Yes. And so I'll give my guys here. Joshua Lugo, I've been watching him since
yeah,
as weird as it's gonna sound, I've been watching him since he was 14, 15 years old. I absolutely love him. I think that he could be a superstar in the making. There's definitely some holes there for sure. Can swing and miss a little bit. He's got to protect on off speed, but again, 18-year-old I would assume he takes the Nelson Rada route, which means he'll probably be in Inland Empire this year. I'd hope, so we get to see him on a nightly basis because again, he's got a chance to be a very, very good player for sure. And I'll give another one here because you gave two. Randy DeJesus, big body, man. That's a
mm-hmm.
fun body, fun hit tool. Reminds me a little bit of Alex Ramirez, just not trying to kill people with his swing, a little more under control. Has a good arm. Had a good year last year as well. So I'm excited to see Joshua Lugo and Randy DeJesus for sure. So Nate, give me your final Jose Suarez thoughts. What do you got?
See, there you go. You always got to put it in there.
He's not making the roster this year, man. I
He's
just
gonna
don't.
make the
He's not. I
roster.
don't. He needs an injury. He needs an injury really badly. He may need two injuries for him to make the roster. I
No,
really do think that.
no.
I'm not just speaking into his existence. I think that he needs two injuries to make this roster this year. I
Dude's
could
gonna
be
make
wrong.
it somehow, some way. If he doesn't, don't worry. The other 29 teams will pick him up because he is that valuable. I've been told
No, you haven't.
everyone will claim this guy.
No, you
So
haven't. You're
we will
misquoting him.
see.
You're misquoting.
Yes. Wouldn't
Don't
be
misquote.
shocked if the Dodgers claim him. He probably makes the roster. That's how good this guy is.
I was thinking Dodgers would pick him up just to go be with Shohei Ohtani.
The Rays will pick him up and he'll turn into, oh, wait, he'll still suck there. The Rays couldn't even fix that guy.
No, he'd be an Atlanta Brave because the Braves like to pick up old Angels. If you looked at their non-roster
Chicago White Sox.
White Sox, he could be a White Sox.
Yeah, the Chicago Angels.
I know there's a lot
They're
of
out
hate on
there.
Jose Suarez. I know. I really wanted him to be good, a good
He's going to make
player.
the roster, so he's still got one more shot to be
Mm.
good.
Don't speak it into existence. They're not carrying 3 to 4 lefties in the bullpen, man.
Just
It's
wait.
not happening.
Just wait. Atlanta does. Atlanta did.
Yeah, Atlanta's a playoff team though. They got 3 good lefties in the bullpen.
Where's our GM from? Just saying. Just don't be shocked when you see 3 or 4 lefties on opening day roster.
All right.
And
With
one of
all
them's
that
going to be
being
Jose
said, no,
Suarez.
you're not talking anymore. With all that being said, thank you so much for watching and listening here at Talking Halos. Go ahead, follow us on all our social medias, X, Instagram, Facebook. You can follow myself at Jared_Tibbs, Nate at NateGreen34. Guys, thank you so much for listening and watching. Have a great rest of your day.